can come up with something to talk about next week, and if we're not, we can dedicate the entire month to Geostorm and do a review and do a analysis of disaster movies, and then the following week, Jim Sturgis, captivating.
I mean, there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of other movies coming up next month.
Yeah, so we gotta find something to spice up.
This week was the only one that I didn't have anything for.
I'll try and find an element for horror stuff on something like that. So yeah, that's kind of what we got cooking.
It's your turn this week.
I know it is. I wasn't looking at you so much as I was looking inside the recesses of my brain, trying to remember how to say, "Welcome to Three Wise, home of the only wise." It's not even fun anymore to not know how to do it. I'm gonna have to come up with a script 2 weeks from now. So I'm coming up with hard ways to say, you know, we talk about TV and movies and games and news and internets and televisions and things of that nature. And that I'm Sam, and that I'm doing obviously really well. And you're Garrett. And Garrett, how are you doing?
I'm also doing pretty well.
Pretty well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got some coffee in my belly, and I guess that's really all I need.
I mean, you also need food.
Yeah, you're right.
Shelter, water, internet connection.
I guess for this I do.
Yeah. Have you tried not having internet?
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah. It's not a necessity, though.
Well,
I have books.
Yeah, I guess.
Tons of books.
I know I recently broke my phone screen because, you know, I'm good at life. It's the first time I've ever had like a completely just destroyed phone, and I took it into the some random like we save your phone shop. Come on in, even though we all look sketchy. They fixed the phone. It was a little expensive, but they put a new case on it, and they're like, it'll be a half hour, just hang out. So I was like, great. And so I was just sitting there without a phone. I was like, man, what should I do? I'm totally ill-equipped for this. If I had known, it was just kind of an impulsive thing. If I had known, then yes, maybe I would have brought a book. But it was either stare at a wall or read, like, Runner's Fitness from 2016.
I mean...
So I stared at the wall for a half hour and reached for my phone probably 3 times, even though it was non-existent at that point. So, if anything, it made me feel real shitty about how dependent I am on my phone. As you see all those stats that people throw out, like millennials are, you know, they statistically they check their phone at least once every hour, 78% of them, and social media people are on that, you know, however many times a day, and every time you're like, I'm not that person. And then you get thrust into a half-hour doomsday scenario, and you realize, oh, great, I'm exactly that person.
Yeah.
Except instead of social media, it's whatever little golf game or whatever it is that I'm playing at the time I'm clinging to. So
yeah.
I feel really good about myself.
Yay, millennials.
Quick, Garrett, compliment me to rejuvenate my energy levels.
Sam, your hair's looking really great today.
Thanks, man. I woke up just a few minutes ago, so glad to know I can pull this off. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Getting into headlines, how much did you like the movie The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling from director Shane Black?
It was meh.
Okay.
Like, it had good moments, but, like, overall, it was kind of underwhelming.
So you're excited about the reboot?
Reboot?
Yes. Okay, let me be more specific. That reboot of The Nice Guys is now getting rebooted to television on Fox as a TV show, potentially next year or the year
I feel like
afterwards.
this premise would probably work better as a TV show.
You think so?
Yeah.
Think so? What if I told you that we were doing a little gender bending and it was going to be called The Nice Girls?
Okay.
All right.
I mean, like, I'm not opposed to it, but it's just like, I don't know. I'm getting...
You're getting too excited.
I'm getting too fatigued on the whole, like, let's just gender bend everything. Like, why not just come up with, like, an original thing on it? And, like...
A show about 2 girl cops that doesn't have to be...
I guess I'm more concerned with, like, why do you have to, like, latch onto this title? Why not, like, come up with like you can still do the same premise and everything. Just call it
Like, why
an
do you have
original
to do
title. And,
Ocean's 11 with gals, things like that?
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. Am I coming off as an asshole on that?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, it's just
there's a fatigue there, and you can see in like TVs, in movies, and well, specifically television. That's something that's been done a lot lately, especially with like the idea is the take of modern times. Like we're rebooting one time. I remember it was we're rebooting Minority Report for modern times. And it's like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard because that was a future story anyway. Yeah. So like, what do you mean you're rebooting it for? That doesn't make sense. But just going, Starsky and Hutch and all this stuff, it's like, well, we want it to be different, but we want to cash in on that success.
Yeah.
The only problem is that you're cashing in on the success of people wanting to watch what they remember, and so, but you're thrusting them into a new thing that's drastically different from what they liked.
Yeah.
So you're not pleasing anyone specifically from the old days, but then also the new people who are watching it don't give a shit that it's Starsky and Hutch or what have you.
Yeah.
So you're not really pleasing anybody. By trying to please so many people, you're actually pleasing less people.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
I'm stoked for other things, not so much this TV show. But we'll see how it plays out. It probably won't even. Knowing Fox, it probably has 6 episodes before they cancel it, or it'll get 6 seasons.
Who knows?
Like it's either a high or low end on that. More exciting news. Just so you know, these headlines are a whole lot of. It's a tough week for headlines, so these are a lot of sad moments.
It's fine.
Coming to America, the sequel has finally found its director in Jonathan Levine.
I thought you were going to say Jonathan Lithgow. It's like, what?
Nope, John Lithgow is not directing it. Are you excited to see a Coming to America sequel?
It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been like 30 years. What is Prince, whatever his name, up to now?
Is it going to star Eddie Murphy?
Who's to say?
Well, then I don't want to see it.
If it were starring him, would you see it?
Yeah, I'll see it. I'd be down
I should
for
dig
that.
a little deeper and see if it is starring him. But to me, it feels like we're getting more of the same, which is bad ideas.
Yeah.
But who's to say? Next up, do you remember, because we're getting to Halloween season, spooky. It's officially October, my favorite month. Do you remember David Pumpkins?
Yes.
How great was that skit?
It was
a Saturday Night Live skit starring Tom Hanks, Bobby Moynihan, and
I don't remember who
that skinny white dude. It's another guy dressed up like but he was the other skeleton. Yeah. If you have not seen that from last year, go YouTube David Pumpkins.
David S. Pumpkins.
David S. Pumpkins, of course. Sorry. He does deserve the full name. And watch that skit. It was one of the top skits of last year. And it carried along really well. I was really looking forward to the idea that he would be coming back for another skit. And guess what? David S. Pumpkins will be coming back. Did you see this?
I did not see I just saw like the headline of the article of it, but yeah.
But he will be coming back in a full animated special.
What? Okay.
This seems like just a big mistake to me.
Cashing in on it?
Yeah, oh no, absolutely cashing in on it. I'm not. As far as a financial mistake, I think that no, they're making the right choice in doing this. As far as let's not beat a dead horse, that's not even the right analogy, because I think if you do Tom Hanks coming back once a year to try and do you can spend 365 days and come up with a clever David S. Pumpkins skit.
Oh yeah.
You can do something fresh. He goes to a Halloween house party or something, or whatever. I think you can send him on his journey, but if you try and do a half-hour animated comedy special with just him, I think you're gonna
without knowing anything about this seems like it's gonna be a kind of like Adam Sandler's Hanukkah special thing. His Christmas Hanukkah special.
Never
that was
saw it.
Way back in the 90s. I don't remember what it was called, but it was an animated thing. It was just Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler, trying to
for a half hour
learn the value of being together with and nice to people around the holidays.
Was it what the 8 Crazy Nights was based off of?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna air on October 28th at 11:30 p.m. So it's a little late for me, but I want it to be good. I was really looking forward to a skit. Also, I'm glad that they were able to get this done because, Bobby Moynihan just left.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's off SNL. He's starting his own show called, Me, Myself, and I, where it looks like he's some kind of inventor that lives in the garage of his own home or something.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like it's got the pull. I'm not sure Bobby Moynihan. I like him a lot, but I'm not sure he can carry his own series. But... Side note, Peter Dinklage is also attached in some capacity to the David S. Pumpkins special, so...
I'm okay with this.
They didn't say what capacity, but we do have... Just so everyone knows, Peter Dinklage is attached.
Oh.
Just a purely name drop.
Yeah.
Going down, more groundbreaking news. Do you remember Liam Neeson had an interview a while back where he was just talking about his old age and still doing these action movies, things like that? Mm-hmm. He was quoted saying, they're still throwing serious money at me to do this stuff. And he's like, guys, I'm 65 years old. Audiences are going to start getting tired of this. So the response to that was, it looks like Liam Neeson is backing off of these action movies. He's trying to take a step away. He's getting older. This stuff isn't the most sustainable in the world. Luckily, Variety did another interview with him this past week where he made sure talking about action movies because, he's got The Commuter coming up, which we have elected not to see, saying, none of that's true at all. Look at me. I'm going to be doing action movies until they bury me in the ground. Which, again, shocking revelation. Actor does job when given lots of money.
Which one is it, Liam?
It's somebody's going to give me $10 million or whatever to do something that I'm kind of tired of. Yeah.
I'll still probably
you do that. You do that. Keep in mind, I didn't know this movie existed, but one of his newer action movies that's set to come out is he plays... I'm so sorry. I haven't seen a trailer for this or anything. I don't even know if it exists. But he plays a snowplow driver who was voted person of the year in his small Colorado skiing town. Mm-hmm. His son is killed by the local drug cartel, which is apparently in this Chicago or Colorado town, and he's out for vengeance. And this movie will be titled... You have a guess, Garrett? Keep in mind he's a snowplow driver.
Shoulder to the plow?
Nope.
I don't know.
Hard Powder.
What? I feel like this should be a 90s exports games movie.
This movie is a guarantee. I'm walking through Target to buy something else, and I walk past the bin of movies that's right $3. Next to the books, and they're like, new releases. And I was like, oh, okay, Transformers 18 is out. This is okay, cool. Oh, there's that rom-com I didn't see. Hard Powder. What's that? What's that movie that Nick Cage should clearly be on the cover of, but instead it's Liam Neeson?
Oh, God.
Oh, weird. So we'll obviously bringing you our review of Hard Powder whenever we get more information about that movie. I'm still on board Liam Neeson doing action movies, except for I'm not, because I just realized that I still haven't seen Taken 3.
Yeah.
And I haven't really seen anything of his since. I think the last movie I saw was The Gray, or I think that might have been the last one. So I guess I'm kind of done with it.
I don't know. I just feel like that's he had a nice niche with that for a while, but I feel like it's just something that's not a sustainable thing, especially because I feel like the whole appeal behind it was that he was kind of an older guy going and doing all this badass stuff. But it is not sustainable.
I mean, unfortunately, it is, and it sounds negative, but it's not a knock on him that was a gimmick.
Yeah,
it was a gimmick fueled genre that he started, and unfortunately, that's the thing with the gimmick is there's an expiration date. Yep. And so, moving on from that, there has been speculation that he's in a movie, or at least it's still early on in the works. But Ruben Fleischer is directing a movie that he's supposed to star in called The Revenger, which apparently is supposed to be a tongue-in-cheek kind of evaluation of how this genre has happened since Taken, and that might be his bookends to be okay, I'm done with this stuff because now I'm making fun of it, and I moved on. Which, if that's the case, I think that would be the most interesting thing I could have heard from him in a while.
Yeah.
Keeping up. Oh man, more exciting news. don't have much to get to with this one. But, other side news. Marvel's Inhumans came out and it did really poorly. I'm not even going to share the numbers with you.
Real bad?
Did real bad, so.
I mean, I'll still check it out.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
When?
Yes, I will. I'll check it out tonight.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Or at least before the next episode.
Fair.
Fair enough?
Shake on it. Deal. You just punched your computer. In more important but also not important news at all. What's the name of the DC movie universe?
DCEU?
Is it, though?
Is it not?
It is not.
Is it DC?
Reports have come out that DC Extended Universe is actually not a thing at all. No one from DC knows how that term was coined, and apparently, instead of making better movies, they're all laughing about it in the offices because they don't know where it originated from. So an investigative reporter did some digging and found out there was actually an article from some magazine, like Entertainment Weekly, that had come out with like the DC Extended Universe seems to be on the right track or whatever, way back before any of this really got started. So, DCEU, not a thing.
God.
Top priority. And this also kind of coincides with there's been a lot of news lately about how everybody's, saying standalones, we're all being our own thing. And then the reports have come out that they are looking for a different banner and that they are going to do what they had said they were going to do, which is focusing on
individual stories
from individual directors, yada, yada, yada. So they seem to be on the right track with that. Jeff Johns was tweeted saying, "Hey, are you trying to tell me that all these DCU movies are not linked up together?" To which he responded, no, they are 100% linked together.
What the fuck?
So,
what is going on at DC? I just want to be like a fly on the wall, not even to like talk about it or anything, just so I know like what's going on in your offices right now, guys.
I'm expecting a wintertime Snapchat with Jeff Johns where he essentially... there's a Snapchat, and he's just like, you want to know what the DCU is all about? And he just pulls down trowel and just takes a shit in the snow. And he's like, there it is. Leave me alone.
Who knows?
As that seems to be where we're at.
God.
Final news we have. First reviews are in for the Blade Runner sequel. What do you think? Do you think people are saying it's good, bad? What's your guess, Garrett?
I would... hope some good stuff. That's what I'll guess.
That's what you hope?
Yeah.
Early reviews are calling it a masterpiece.
Oh.
Better and more important than the original. More important, like whatever like a movie's importance really means, but they are saying that it is a visual spectacle and that it is more thought-provoking than any movie of all time.
Okay.
But I was not expecting that. When the last report that I heard about was how Jared Leto walked out with like blinding goggles on or whatever, and everyone thought it was incredible. It did not give me high hopes for what this film was going to be.
Yeah.
I'm now calling it a film because it's getting good reviews, so it's no longer a movie. It has transcended to film. As we all know, films are better than movies, just like when we see the film Geostorm in a few weeks.
No, it's not a film.
I'm excited. Going back to Blade Runner, first thing I should probably do is watch
the original
Blade Runner.
I also need to do that.
Yeah, but which one?
That's a good question.
Who cares?
Why not all of them?
Because there's like 8 of them.
There's 4 of them.
I
think it's 4.
Still, there's 4 of them.
Yeah. And the movie's like 3 hours long.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, good news. It's good to hear. I mean, did you see there was an interview with... There was an interview with Harrison Ford. He was on a British talk show, and he was telling a story of revolving around Ryan Gosling, and Ryan Gosling was sitting right next to him, and he forgot his name. He was like, I was on set with the host, and was like, Ryan? He's like, yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford is either losing it or has the driest, most capable sense of humor that you've ever witnessed. But he's so grumpy, I don't think we'll ever know.
Yeah. He's kind of fallen into that Tommy Lee Jones sort of thing.
Yeah, but just he seems more aggressive about it.
I guess so, yeah.
Tommy Lee just seems a little more recluse.
He's a very passive, grumpy.
Yeah. Harrison Ford is a more aggressive type of like, don't upset me because I will certainly let you know that I have been bothered by what you've said. Yeah. So, good news.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I've got for you. What an exciting week it has been.
Yeah. Real quick to listeners though, if you know which version of Blade Runner is the best to watch, let us know so we can watch that one.
Don't say all of them.
And just one of them.
Just the one.
Three Wise, I've got your Three Wise radio. Three Wise, ice cold Three Wise radio.
Ice cold 3 Wise.
I'll take a 3.
All right, Garrett, I know you hate to talk about it, but unfortunately, you and I can't vote on anything of what we're doing because there's 2 of us right now. So
yeah.
I'm just going to overrule and keep talking about Geostorm.
That's fine.
The soon-to-be hit, certified fresh.
I'm just gonna let you keep talking about this, and we'll talk about this as much as you want. I just get to pick the next movie on the movie train.
No,
yes.
It's got to be.
No.
We came to a decision, you and I.
No, you kind of like overruled that.
No.
You made an executive decision.
I did what needed to be done for the good of all. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Regardless, I did want to take a look into just getting an idea of how both of us feel about. I honestly don't know if we've even talked about disaster movies before, or how either of us feel about them in general.
I think we might have talked about like end of the world movies is what it was.
Okay.
It's like way back when we first started.
Well, fuck it. Let's talk about it again.
Yeah.
How do you feel about disaster? Like, do you watch disaster movies? Do you enjoy them? I mean, there's a pretty broad range from like natural disaster movies versus like this plane spinning in circles kind of movies.
Oh, I wouldn't. I was just thinking purely natural disaster stuff.
That's what I think too.
Okay.
So we'll talk Armageddon, natural disaster, apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah.
Because clearly,
I mean, Armageddon is the pinnacle of that genre.
True. But the stakes, any movie where it's the stakes have never been higher.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I don't know, man. I don't, this is the first time I've had to like kind of think about like this genre and like, is this good stuff? Is it bad stuff?
I think it's cheap stuff. Is the problem, because again, like the stakes have never been higher. Like there's no enemy. Like it's interesting because it uses a lot of elements from a lot of different things. So it like there's the action adventure element where there's spectacle. It's visually impressive. It's using elements of a lot of horror movies where it's this isn't a force that you can stop. You can only try and slow it, or you can only try and run away from it. It usually uses some kind of romance, because either if it's just one dude running from a storm, a geostorm, nobody cares. But it's always individuals trying to either stay together or get from point A to point B to find person C. So there's always some kind of romance or like family element, but it's all circling around essentially just big kablooms. Yeah. So it does just kind of feel almost cheap, because it feels like everything is forced, and you don't really earn any of the either like the scares, B, the relationships, or anything like that, because you're thrust into this scenario where like, well, everybody's going to forgive everyone of everything because, there's tornadoes shooting out of lightning bolts and stuff. Like, does that make sense? So it's like everything feels cheap, because I don't care how good of a dad John Cusack is, because he is the best dad ever from 2012. But like any family problems that he has are inconsequential, because end of the world, let's all forgive. Yeah.
It's a good assessment of that. I don't know. I always like it whenever I like disaster movies that show the scope of what could happen with a natural disaster like that. Yeah. Or the post desolation, like Day After Tomorrow. Yeah. I really liked that one, because it was like it was very just like isolated stories kind of, and you felt that.
Emmy Rossum was in it.
Yes.
She's a nice lady.
Yes.
Who else was in that?
Dennis Quaid.
Was Jim Sturgis in that?
I don't.
No. D. Quaid was in it.
Yeah.
And he's great. Somebody's in that. Well, yeah, obviously somebody's in it. But and that was a good movie. And that movie had the element that I always love, is It's almost like they're almost, when they're well done, it's almost like like zombie movies when those go well.
Yeah.
It's the enemy isn't the zombies, it's human nature or wild pack of wolves.
Yes.
When in doubt, throw some wild wolves in there and just let things play out as they did in Day After Tomorrow.
Yes.
Day After Tomorrow is a good one. I mean, they're almost a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
They're definitely not something that I don't think I've seen any of these movies in theaters. It's definitely more of like I'm at home, I'm gonna wait. But I guess they're actually supposed to be seen in theaters, right?
I guess.
For the spectacle of it.
Another one that's coming to mind is Twister. It's a classic. It's a classic disaster movie.
I actually have not seen that.
Are you serious?
I have not seen that. There's a cow that spins around.
Bill
in a circle.
Paxton.
Jake Gyllenhaal's in Day After Tomorrow.
Oh,
That's fine.
very nice.
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. I don't remember who the female lead was for that one.
It's like Kate Hunt
I think so.
or somebody.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
But no, I feel like that was a really cool movie. For some reason, I got really into meteorology around this time when this movie came out. I just was like, yeah, tornadoes and clouds and stuff are really cool. I think we were probably talking about it in school or something. But
How do you feel about clouds today? How is your perspective
still
on clouds?
pretty fucking cool.
Not Kate Hunt. Her name is Helen Hunt.
Oh,
I don't know who Kate Hunt is.
I don't know. Maybe you're thinking like Kate Hudson? Question mark.
Maybe it's a hybrid of the two.
I don't know.
Oh, this cast is
It's a good cast.
Bill Paxton, he was in Navy SEALs. Helen Hunt, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Carrie Ellis, who's in Saw, the original Saw.
Mm-hmm.
Some other people. Lois Smith, one of the old ladies that is just like, oh, that's that old lady.
Yeah.
Bravo. Anywho, what were we talking about?
We were talking about like clouds.
And how cool they are.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about them now?
They're still pretty cool.
Still pretty cool?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Great. Excellent insight. Just as we expected. I said, Garrett, what do you want to talk about today? He's like, I've been pushing this whole cloud thing for a couple weeks now. If we could really get the ball rolling on this, I'd be
But no,
immensely
like
satisfied.
in Twister, like there's a lot of scope of the destruction of what can happen, and like being from Missouri, some of us have like seen that,
Tornado Alley.
Yeah, but like at the time, I hadn't experienced a tornado, and so I didn't know. But it was cool. I don't want to say cool. I guess awe-inspiring, like
impressive.
Just like seeing the scope of what could happen with that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The thing that I'm worried about with this movie is that this seems so over the top, and I think that's maybe what the good thing about Twister was, is that there's not a emphasis, like, yeah, they wanted to be like, look at what our technology can do with how these twisters like visually look, but they weren't like bend over backwards relying on that, which is where I think we've kind of moved now into like almost a Transformers realm, where they're almost making these movies just to show off like what CGI company they can bankrupt to make these. Yeah. As you've heard, like that's the thing that happens. Like these CGI companies are really impressive and they put all this stuff together, but it's so expensive that a lot of them just go bankrupt doing it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I did not hear that, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like the company that I believe, somebody quote me if I'm wrong, or don't quote me if I'm wrong, just correct me in private so that I still sound smart. The company that did Ang Lee's, that last movie with the kid in the boat, and there's a tiger.
Oh, The Life of Pi?
Yeah, I think they kicked the bucket. I think they were like,
really?
This was so expensive, yeah. Wow. I mean, it takes so much time and effort and dollars.
Yeah.
But is it worth it?
I'm not sure. We'll find out when we watch Geostorm.
Yeah, well, circling back, that's what I was talking about with Geostorm, is this just seems like such a stupid thing where it's like the idea for you of like the devastation that could happen. There has to be like a little bit of reality. Yeah. Like just a little sliver of reality to make you be like, oh, well, man, hey, I better recycle that soda bottle that I walked into the theater with, because if I don't, there's going to be tornadoes or whatever, however that works, however you want to believe that operates. But with this, it's just like there's a big God cannon in the sky that's like, oh, we're going to freeze over Arizona because
why not?
Because whatever, because Geostorm. So that takes away a lot of the plausibility of like, oh man, who's really in control, us or Mother Nature? Like, well, it's you, because
you have satellite
you got
that
a
does it.
Satellite gun. It's not inspiring at all.
Yeah.
But with that said, we do have or do we not have the star power of Gerard Butler on our side?
I was gonna like try and abbreviate his name, but it's just G-Butt.
Gerbutt? Buttard.
I don't think this one's gonna abbreviate very
All
well.
right, so G-Butt. Capital G, capital B. I wanted to take a little bit of time today. We don't have the full means to do a full the road thus far, but I wanted to take a look at Gerard Butler because he's an interesting specimen.
Yeah.
Here's my question, Garrett: do you like Gerard Butler? Do you like him as an actor?
I feel like I'm very indifferent.
I've done
him.
some self-reflection. I think I've made some discoveries about myself.
Do you not like
this
him?
morning? No, we'll get to me.
Okay.
But now I'm going to analyze you. I am a licensed psychologist.
The-
I only say that because the college that I went to school forgot to put what my degree was on my diploma. So according to them, I have a Bachelor of Science in blank space. So I feel
you can be whatever you want.
I can be whatever I want, and sky's the limit is what they told me when I didn't walk. Maybe let's just say, okay, Sam, this guy didn't want to walk down the aisle. Well, fuck him. Let's just erase whatever it was he graduated in. So, Bachelor of Science in Psychology.
Opened so many doors now.
Yes, so many doors. First of which is assessing your psych profile in regards to a movie star. Gerard Butler.
All right.
You're indifferent. Why?
I just feel like I've not seen a lot of him stuff. Like scrolling through his movies, I've only seen like 5, 6, maybe.
What's the first thing you think when you think Gerard Butler?
300.
Of course it is. That's kind of where we want to start the scene. That's what he is known for above all else, is the fitness level and just kind of that overwhelming, you almost want to say worldwide phenomenon?
Yeah, it was
almost changed the way that we see big guys in movies, buff guys in movies. They have to be cut. They have to be extremely large. That's kind of trended down a little bit as of late, but it definitely set a tone for at least a decade. Beyond that, what happened?
I know he was in Phantom of the Opera. Law-Abiding Citizen.
Yep.
Which I enjoyed. That was good.
Yep.
I never saw it, but
Keep digging.
he was in Dracula 2000.
Dracula 2000 is an incredible movie.
Didn't see that one, though.
No, but he's great in that. It came out in the year 2000, I believe. Keep digging, baby.
I know he was in Olympus Has Fallen. Yeah?
Yes.
I didn't see
which
that,
I
though.
thoroughly enjoyed. Critics destroyed it. It made decent money, but it made enough money to do London Has Fallen, and potentially a third, rumored to be titled Angel Has Fallen, which, as I think we've talked about before, is just Air Force One.
Yeah.
But instead, the president isn't the hero. It's the Secret Service member that, instead of getting shot in the beginning of the movie, is Gerard Butler. But yeah, you kind of take a look at it, and this is what I did. I mean, when I first sat down to talk about it, I was like, oh, Gerard Butler, I actually really like him in movies. And then I actually thought about the movies that I've seen him in, and it's usually not him that's the best part about it.
Ooh.
It's usually like it's a good story, or it's visually impressive, or it's just all around a good cast. Which, you know, the movies that I think about when I think him, 300. He was fine in that, but all he did was look gruff and like yell sentence-long lines at a time. I think of Olympus Has Fallen, and I try to actively not think about Gamer. And then I think about the only rom-com of his 37 rom-coms that I enjoy, which was, now I forgot it, so I clearly don't like it. Oh, never mind. It was 27 Dresses, and that's actually, I believe, starring James Marsden. So, never mind.
Alrighty.
Perfect. Katherine Heigl. He was in another one with Katherine Heigl, so that's another. Oh, Ugly Truth.
Yes.
I like that movie too. 27 Dresses is not the movie I'm thinking of, but I am thinking of the same actress. I think that's just testament to rom-coms and not me, so we'll stick with that.
All right.
But beyond that, Rock and Rolla, he's really good. In a side note, but again, that's a movie that it's more about the ensemble and what the story is rather than his performance of it. And then I looked back, and he is just in a lot of not great rom-coms. P.S. I Love You.
Movie 43.
movie 43, which was just a side thing that was completely panned.
Gods of Egypt, which we just watched.
Gods of Egypt. And that's part of the thing that I was thinking is he and Sean Connery have the one thing. Well, they're both men. And secondly, they cannot get rid of their accents.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I was thinking about with him that actually does make sense as to why it's not in the front of people's brains. Like when you see a movie like Gods of Egypt, your first thing, at least my first thing isn't, okay, so there's this Scotsman playing this Egyptian god. But I think in the back of your head, like subconsciously, it does make it difficult for him to really shine in a role because he is so Gerard Butler and can't like fall into a character because it's like the Sean Connery thing. Like Sean Connery is great, but I can't think of a movie where I was like, Sean Connery's amazing in that movie. Like he just really dominated that role. Other than like James Bond, which again, it's not really completely about him.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. So I think that held him back for a while. Also, he seemed to just not accept the idea of after 300, he could have done like action movie. He could have been an action superstar, but he just elected to kind of go other routes and like try Phantom of the Opera and try these
Phantom
other things.
Phantom of the Opera was actually before 300.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go.
That was the one he did right before 300.
Okay. Well, regardless, it kind of pairs this idea of like this is a guy who's trying to be a rom-com guy and also an action movie star at the same time.
Yeah.
And we're kind of getting into another situation like before we were talking about in the headlines of like trying to please so many things when unfortunately, and I hate to be a dick, but you don't seem to have the range to be able to pull off these so many facets.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge. Yeah. But I like him, not as an actor,
just as a person.
But I enjoy. Well,
I mean, he's kind of got that like.
This might be a little. What's the term? What's the term where you belittle somebody by speaking highly of them?
Oh, I don't know.
Not belittling. I'm totally blanking on the word, but regardless, it makes me happy when he gets work. Like I'm happy when I was like, "Oh, Gerard, you're in a movie. Good for you, man." Patronizing, this little patronizing is the term that I'm looking for. Like, oh, Gerard, you're doing another action movie. Right on, man. Good for you. Back to your roots, which apparently I've now discovered are not even his roots. So I think he's a nice guy. I mean, maybe he's a dick. Like, there's been some rumors on set that he's like kind of racist and kind of difficult to work with because of that. But I try and avoid any of that hearsay. I mean, I can only go with what I know, and what I know is he seems like an enjoyable Scotsman.
He seems like a charming personality, kind of like a Hugh Jackman sort of thing.
Yeah, a little cheeky. Hugh Jackman is way nicer.
That's what he tried to do, was like model his career off of Hugh Jackman. Do the action stuff, do the rom-com stuff, be charming, and still just kind of have an overall good career. Bravado. But I feel like all of his movie choices that he chose to sign on to just like weren't.
I actually looked at it statistically. He's not doing well. He's got over 30 movies. I don't like Rotten Tomatoes, but you can't argue that it has a metric that you can at least use for data. He's got over 30 movies on Rotten Tomatoes. I believe as of now, 5 of them are certified fresh. The rest are rotten. 2 of those being How to Tame Your Dragon. So...
All right.
If you take that out of it, there's almost like this CGI spectacle. If you take 300 out and if you take How to Tame Your Dragons out, that leaves, I think, 2 movies that are certified fresh that he's in.
Damn.
So, with that said, still so excited that he is in this movie. And I don't get it. It's like seeing a buddy do something.
Yeah.
Almost. Because even though I'm going to see my buddy, I know that my buddy's not the best actor. But, you know, I'm happy. I'm happy for him, man. For him. And so that's what I'm doing. Again, very patronizing.
Yeah.
But that's what I've learned about myself today. And I think, again, what are movies about if not discovering something about yourself from watching the screen? Isn't that what Gerard wants for us all?
Who knows, Sam?
I do. It's not. That's not what he wants at all. I would guess. I don't know. I got nothing else. I've explained my self-discovery. Is there anything you want to unlock about yourself here and now, Garrett? After 15 minutes of deep Gerard Butler contemplation?
I still feel super masculine watching 300, and that's about it.
I feel emasculated. Do you feel masculine?
Yeah.
Right on.
I get pumped.
I get pumped, but I also feel like I should work out. Or I should maybe not work out, but like put in effort. It's delicious. It's too delicious. Get out of here. Piquing your interest. Bam.
It's the end of the episode, so that means we just talk about what's piquing our interest on the segment called Piquing Your Interest.
Creativity 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Garrett, what about you? What has your interest piqued?
What's piquing my interest is this cosplayer that I stumbled upon a while back, but he's been working on this really dope. Do you ever play Final Fantasy X?
Nope.
Did you play any Final Fantasy?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Final Fantasy X's iteration of Bahamut.
Okay.
And it's super dope. It's been really cool, like, getting to watch him
That is elaborate.
process. It's super elaborate. I think it stands probably like 15, 20 feet tall, maybe.
No way.
Maybe
I would say like
like 10 feet.
between 10 and 15.
Yeah.
20 feet tall, you wouldn't be able to function.
There's people that have, like, giant cosplays like that, though.
Yeah. No, that's pretty impressive.
And it's just super cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably butcher this.
I believe in you.
Ameno Kitaro.
Perfect. I know.
Sorry if I
that's
said that wrong.
exactly what it is. That's exactly correct.
He's got some super cool stuff working on this. So.
Right on. Good on him. We can throw him up. There was whatever you kids do on the
social
Instagrams,
medias.
on the medias.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a bit. Piquing my interest, Garrett, I'm glad you asked. So I've spoken about it briefly, maybe on the cast, if not in person to you. But the Netflix series that came out a couple weeks back, American Vandal.
Yeah.
The spoof of Serial about a high school student that draws wieners on a bunch of faculty cars. First 4 episodes, it gets a little repetitive and it gets a little rough.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get through it because there's some occasional funny jokes, and I appreciate the satire of that popular genre. However, episode 5 and 6 have been incredible and really turned it into, I don't know if this is correct with Serial because I have actively just avoided all that stuff, but there came a point where like the intrigue hit and it became a mystery, and now I am just captivated with finding out who drew these dicks on these cars. And I was just completely sucked in a show where normally I start doing something else on my phone, but now I'm like just zoned in. And right before you came over, I finished an episode, and it was just like, you know how sometimes you turn off your TV after like watching a bunch of Netflix or something, and you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This one was like, what happened? What happened to me? What am I doing? I'm so sucked into this right now. What switched? But if you can get through the first 4 episodes of just kind of a little bit of tediousness and monotony, for me, now I'm just super intrigued to find out who drew these dicks on these cars. Because it may have been a faculty member that did it out of vengeance. Yeah.
That's exciting.
I would not highly recommend it, but I would recommend it.
Okay. All right. Well, that does it for us for this show. Shout out to our homies over at Movieverses, Beyond the Blast Doors. This film is lit, and good, bad, or bad, bad. That does it for us. You can find us on Facebook at 3Wise Media. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at 3Wise Radio. You can email us at 3wiseradio@gmail.com. I'm going to say it a third time. That's it for us.
Yeah. I started using Twitter recently.
Did you?
No.
Oh. Probably for the best. I deactivated my Twitter.
Yeah.
But we'll see you next week.
3Wise Radio is a production of 3Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.